Is your car drinking antifreeze like there's no tomorrow? Don't panic. I'm going to explain why that's happening and how you can fix it. Leaks in the cooling system. One of the most common reasons your car consumes antifreeze without any clear explanation is a leak in the cooling system. This can happen in several parts: the hoses, the radiator, or even the water pump. Sometimes the leaks are small and hard to spot, but the antifreeze gradually escapes, causing the level to drop. If you find that you constantly need to add more fluid, the first thing you should do is check the hoses and components of the cooling system for any leaks. If something is dripping or damaged, you'll need to repair or replace the affected part. Damaged head gasket. Another serious reason your car could be losing antifreeze is a leak in the head gasket. This gasket is responsible for sealing the engine block with the cylinder head, and if it's damaged, antifreeze can leak into the engine cylinders. Not only does this lower the antifreeze level, but it can also cause the engine to overheat, or even mix the fluid with the oil, which is a disaster for the engine. If you notice that your car is losing power, smells strange, or sees white smoke coming from the exhaust, you may need to replace the head gasket, which isn't a cheap repair, but it's definitely crucial to keep your engine running smoothly. Clogged or defective radiator. The radiator is one of the key components in keeping the engine at the correct temperature, and if it's clogged or damaged, it won't be able to do its job properly. This can lead to the antifreeze not circulating properly and becoming trapped in the engine, which can eventually result in fluid loss. A clogged radiator can also cause the engine to overheat, making the problem worse. If you suspect the radiator is damaged, it's a good idea to have the car checked to see if it needs cleaning or, in the worst case, replacement. Defective water pump. The water pump is responsible for moving the antifreeze through the engine and radiator. If this pump is damaged or not working properly, the antifreeze won't circulate well, which can lead to fluid loss or engine overheating. If you notice that your car is getting hotter than usual or the antifreeze is disappearing quickly, but you can't find any leaks, the water pump could be to blame. In this case, it's best to replace it as soon as possible, as a defective water pump can cause serious engine damage. Internal engine leaks. Sometimes the antifreeze doesn't escape from the engine externally but leaks internally, which is even more concerning. If you have an internal leak, such as in the cylinders or valves, the fluid can enter the combustion system and end up in the exhaust. This usually results in white smoke coming out of the exhaust. Additionally, this type of leak can damage the internal components of the engine, such as piston rings and valves. If you suspect you have an internal leak, it's important to have a mechanic check the engine to avoid further damage. Evaporation due to extreme heat. In some cases, the antifreeze can evaporate due to very high temperatures in the engine, especially if the cooling system isn't working optimally. If the car is constantly running at high temperatures and the system isn't doing its job properly, the antifreeze can slowly evaporate. This is more common in older vehicles or those with poorly maintained cooling systems. If this is your case, you may need a full checkup of the cooling system to make sure all the components are in good condition and there are no evaporation losses. Radiator cap problems. The radiator cap is a small but very important part of the cooling system. Its job is to maintain the correct pressure within the system so the antifreeze can circulate properly. If the cap is damaged or not sealing well, the antifreeze can evaporate or even escape from the system. If your radiator cap is old or not working properly, it's recommended to replace it, as it's a simple and cost-effective solution to avoid antifreeze loss.